guys, Spartan117DW with Off Duty Gamers, and I had the pleasure of attending an event up in Redwood City to play Battlefield Hardline multiplayer, specifically Hotwire mode. So this is a really cool mode that's vehicle focused. All the weapons and all the attachments were unlocked. For the most part, a lot of the weapons attachments are things that you've seen before in Battlefield 4 and even Battlefield 3, but there are a couple new optics that have been added to the game that kind of tickle my real steel fancy, particularly the Aimpoint T1 and the Trijicon SRS being two of them. Definitely really cool to see those were added to the game. Definitely a lot of cool weapons, but there were definitely some favorites that you definitely saw reoccurring in the game. 416, G36, the M16, as well as the R0933, which is the M4. Now personally, I love the Aimpoint. It's a really nice optic. I'm glad they actually represented it fairly well in the game. It's kind of hard to represent optics in the game just because, how we perceive optics in real life and how you can perceive it through a video game, really. But they did a pretty good job. It's basically a small compact red dot that gives you a wide field of view and really takes up less space and saves you a lot of weight on a real steel weapon. But nice to see that they captured pretty respectively in the game, and as you can see, definitely picking up some good kills. Now the combat in this game is very fast, very infantry focused, especially with Hotwire, because it essentially means the infantry gets to the fight faster. Infantry still has a really good fighting chance against the vehicles as well. There's not too many heavy vehicles in this game, so if you get the drop on a vehicle, you can actually kill maybe one or both, or sometimes even all the occupants with a good burst. You'll notice on this map for Hotwire, there's definitely a lot of focus on the bridge in the middle, but more specifically the bridge. The bridge really is the gravitational point where all the fighting happens on this map. Because it's the longest strip of road, and it does have a jump there, all the vehicles are drawn to pretty much to that spot. They can start off anywhere on the map, but you really are going to get drawn to the bridge. Now, if you're not familiar with Hotwire, it really is focused on capturing and maintaining control of the vehicles that spawn on the map. By maintaining control of those, you control the amount of tickets and more or less bleed out the enemy team, whether you have more cars in your possession. And it's supposed to really invoke the car chases. For me, I do a lot of infantry combat in terms of how I play Battlefield. So I wasn't in the vehicles too much. And you'll see a lot of my gameplay really focuses around the bridge because that is where the action is. But you'll definitely get some really nice, interesting engagements where vehicles are trying to run you over, or you engage guys getting out of vehicles. It does get pretty dang frantic. Now, with more players, I feel that the map will really be more fleshed out. I mean, we didn't have a whole bunch. We had a pretty good number of players, but I don't believe it was the full 64 when we had a chance to play, but it was still just enough to really kind of get a feel of what the battle space feels like as it's being fleshed out. Now, kind of giving you a brief overview of the map. As you can see, there's the long highway, and there's actually these glades. I believe the map is called glades. There's some alligators on there, and there's even a couple hovercraft as well. Now, as you can see here, I'm taking some heat. There is a tower in the middle of the map, and there's actually some really good vantage points for sniping. Personally, my favorite tactic on this map was fighting right here next to the guardrails. You can really ambush vehicles really well. There's a lot of cover and concealment. It's not terribly easy for vehicles to go there and run you over, and usually they're paying attention about going straight down the bridge anyways, but if they do dismount, they're pretty much dead meat. You have a pretty good amount of concealment, shooting through the guardrails, and more or less they're just like fish in a barrel essentially, and you'll rack up quite a few kills, definitely on this side or the other side. But on this side with the trees you have a little bit more concealment, but you're definitely not invincible, and you can get taken down fairly easy if you're not watching your sides. as you can see, the enemy team actually has all the vehicles on the map, and you can see how drastic that is to the scoreboard. You know, the the other guys really controlling the battle space. The criminals, actually, we're actually playing as the robbers right now at the moment, and you can see how, you know, the vehicles are also just more or less used to get to the fight. You know, if you're the kind of guy who likes to, you know, fight on foot, I more or less kind of just hopped in one of the vehicles, got to the fight, dismounted, and let the guys who really like to drive kind of maintain control of the vehicles. Now this trailer up here is interesting. I can't remember if there's a ladder or not to get up here, but you can definitely use your grapple hook to more or less get on top of the bridge in case someone's sniping there, maybe sneak up on them or something like that. You can even hear a guy up there using the trailer with a suppressed rifle, taking some shots at some guys, and it definitely, it's definitely a pain in the butt when you can't tell where you're getting shot from, but that's actually a fairly concealable position. Now, as you saw there, I was using the Trigicon SRS. It's a really nice red dot. I believe, you know, the MOA of the actual dot in-game just feels a little bit bigger than the aimpoint T1. I mean, who knows, they could change that eventually. But it's also kind of cool they varied it up and made this one a green dot sight. Of course, the EOTech returns. It's the kind of the tried and true, you know, optic for a lot of different video games out there, and it definitely works as you'd expect in this game. Now, we definitely had a lot of interesting players here at this game, people from Europe, people from all around the Battlefield community. It'll really be interesting to see what they have in store for the game, but it was very, very, very cool to fight with and against them, as it created some very interesting firefights. Now, as you can see here, the primary weapon of choice for most of the gameplay is the M16, favored by most, but also the FPG and a couple other cool guns have made it into the game, including the Chris Vector. Also really nice that the FPG made it in there, because that's just a really cool gun. There's not many guns that operate and fold like that one does. Now, even though a lot of the combat really focuses around the bridge, you'll definitely get into some very interesting engagements in the middle of the map. There's a lot of places to hide. It does get kind of complex in the middle, but you do have some very fun firefights. The entire construction site in the middle is more or less made up of these buildings and catwalks and towers, but it's surrounded by a bunch of berms as well. So it's kind of interesting dynamic, especially for the infantry fighting, but it definitely seemed that if you really wanted the action consistently, you had to be on either end of the bridge. Now, this is a good example of, you know, kind of checking out the bridge, the different areas that are available. I mentioned the trailer on here before, but now you'll actually get to see first person what it looks like inside. And if you didn't see there, all three of those cars just jumped over that bridge, which is one of the reasons why it's such a fun place to play. Now, I mentioned it before, there's also hovercraft in this game. Definitely really cool. Took out Daskro and Isucks there. Both guys that I played with in the showdown, really good dudes. And one thing that's really cool is that heavy rifles are brought into the game, but they're brought in with collapsible stocks. So in order to, say, get better accuracy or get better you know, hip fire or anything like that, you more or less have to have the stock. It's a separate attachment altogether, and it really kind of changes how the guns perform, so it's kind of nice they've found a way to include those weapons and include the additional functionality given you attach those attachments. Now, I don't know if you guys just saw that right there, but there's a really funny, hilarious glitch right now. It's just, it really is just the stretched out guy glitch. You guys are going to see it all over the internet. It happens. I think it even happened in Battlefield, but at this point in the game, they were still tweaking some of the animations for the L85. Now, I did use the DMR a few times, and, you know, they're definitely, you know, they have their uses, but I definitely feel like they definitely have a hard time taking on the assault rifles in this game. Like I said, weapon balance is not finished. We will see how that has changed over time. I was kind of trying to play with a bunch of different options to help control the recoil, but even so, it definitely felt like a major disadvantage when you're taking on M16 at medium range. Now, as you see, the weapon skins also return. I'm actually kind of using my tried and true favorite, the hexagon. So if you're a big fan of the colorized customizations from Battlefield 4, you're definitely going to be able to find those again in Battlefield Hardline. One thing I actually kind of do like about Hardline is that when you die, it actually shows you where you got shot. You know, it's fairly relevant information, but at least it lets you know if you get shot in the face, if you got shot in the torso. You know, it's kind of a cool gimmick, and it's really nice that they use the police target to do so. Just the little aesthetics to kind of help fill in the theme of the game. Really kind of help you get immersed in the whole cops and robbers feel. Also to note, the voiceovers, I believe there's more voiceovers added in this game. You'll definitely notice the audio feedback coming from the players or coming from their, you know, their characters essentially. Really kind of feels into that vibe with the Cops and Robbers vibe. I don't believe that was as present in the beta, but it was really kind of cool to see they had more skins, more character models. They definitely mixed things up. It wasn't as plain Jane as the beta. I think you guys are really gonna like it. Overall, I had a great time playing the game. You know, I'm a big fan of the infantry combat in the game right now. Definitely dig it. I believe there's definitely some tweaking and a couple things they could work on. Definitely, they need the time to polish the game. But I believe, you know, when it comes out, it will be a strong contender. So make sure you guys check it out. Thank you guys for watching. This is Spartan117GW. I'll see you guys next time.
Elite Force BBs, that's what's in my mag. Thanks for watching.